Hello friends, this is Fox Nival Studios. Today we are here with new chapter What if Naruto was the huge of all the angle. So before starting story, please subscribe our channel. Now let's start the chapter. Sasuke left the village, his head held high and his left arm gone. Tsunade was willing to make him a substitute, but he refused. The reason, be it pride or repentance, was kept only between the two of them. The point is, he just left the village, saying goodbye to the other members of Team 7. Which was why he was so surprised meeting Naruto in front of him. "Excuse me?" Naruto asked, in a weird voice. It startled Sasuke when he figured out. The voice sounded the same. But the difference was that this Naruto was calm, polite and did not recognize him. And definitely got startled when Sasuke drew his sword in his direction, Sharingan spinning in his eye. "Whoa, I'm sorry. Did I do something wrong? Did you? Why do you look and sound like Naruto?" Sasuke asked through gritted teeth. "Look and, oh, that's perfect, so you know him personally," the stranger said with a smile. A wide smile just like Naruto's, but the man did not act like Naruto, so that smile became wrong. "Well, how do I explain, do you believe in reincarnation?" Sasuke nodded despite himself. Hard not to, when he was a transmigrant. Well, they may be different things, but he never bothered to find out the difference. "Well, long story short, my adopted father used a skill to make me look and sound like him, to work as a diplomat in his name. He died some time ago, but recently when I was traveling nearby my appearance and voice changed. I've been trying to find who I believe to be his reincarnation since then." Sasuke snorted. "Your story is hard to believe, but my Sharingan didn't detect any sign of you lying, so either you believe it or you are better at lying than me at detecting. And I played poker with Naruto. He lives in the village right there," he said, pointing to behind himself over his shoulder. "I suggest disguising your face and voice and asking for Uzumaki Naruto, though. Most people would think it is just one of his pranks." The stranger nodded, and hanged himself into a brown-haired man. "Thank you, young one." Sasuke was going to say something, but then remembered this person was probably older than Naruto, for his adopted father to be the idiot's previous incarnation, so he just nodded and went on his way. He sighed. Since when did a random person looking for someone because they were a person's reincarnation make total sense to him? And, well, if the person lied and somehow fooled his Sharingan, it's Naruto. He won't lose that easily. Besides, it's not like his henge would fool anyone. Naruto and Sakura, followed by Kakashi, who seemed to have been somehow convinced not to be late, arrived at the Hokage's office just in time to see Tsunade downing a whole bottle of sake, Shizune downing a second one more slowly, and a shadow clone of Naruto? "Proceed," said Tsunade, to the confusion of the visitors. "That's it, really? Oh, and I'd like to take him to see our home. Even if he decides not to stay," said the shadow clone, in a completely non-Naruto way. "That's on him, I guess," Tsunade said, nursing her head as if staving off a headache, an action all viewing seemed to be familiar with save the shadow clone. "Ba-chan. What is going on?" Naruto asked, ready to evade a high-speed office implement that never came. "And speak of the devil, or whatever he is," Tsunade said, shaking her head. "Hey brat, come here. We found this guy sulking around town looking for you under a very unconvincing henge." Naruto entered cautiously, looking at the shadow clone, that now he could see only had his appearance. He did not act or feel like one of his clones. "Hello, Uzumaki Naruto," the clone said. "My name is Enoch, but most know me as Megatron." Naruto looked at the clone, then turned to Tsunade. "Ba-chan. I swear I didn't know shadow clones could get lives of their own if left by themselves. I'll take care to pay attention and dispel every one of them from now on." "I'm not a clone, Naruto-sama," Enoch said. "Really?" Naruto asked, confused. "So you just happen to look like me, sound like me and even have the same birthmarks?" "Actually, there's a reason for all of that. And actually just my head and skin tone is the same as yours. I think I'm a few centimeters shorter and I bet we have different scars." Saying that, Enoch shows his arms, showing they are both scarred, while Naruto's natural one is blemish-free. "Okay. Then what is the reason?" "Oh, a previous incarnation of yours used a technique on me so I would look and sound like him, or right now you, to be his public face and voice." Well," Sakura interrupted. "You did meet previous incarnations of Indra and Asura. You fought Madara besides Harashama-sama, remember?" she pointed out. That's a transmigrant, Sakura-chan, Kakashi corrected. That's more of a possession of people with similar souls. More like giving someone else your kidney or eye, not growing a new one. Okay. Let's pretend this makes sense. Naruto started, just to be interrupted by Tsunade. Which, considering that you fought an unzombified Madara and a goddess before being brought back to our dimension by the souls of previous cages and the Sage of Six Paths, who you met before when he helped bring you back to life stronger than ever. When you put it like that, Naruto agreed. No, that is not the hard to believe part. Now we are getting to the hard to believe part. Enoch nodded. In our land, your earlier incarnation was known as a god. A god, Naruto repeated. As in Kaguya, god. Stronger. Well, we defeated Kaguya, so it isn't that hard to believe. Naruto nodded to himself. Being a god is clearly overrated. Excuse me? Sakura asked, incredulous. Were we at the same battle, because I clearly remember us almost dying for her many times. Tobi, or Obito or whatever he wanted to be called did die. I know. Naruto raised his hands, trying to placate her. It's just that, we did win despite her being a goddess. And now this guy's god is dead enough to reincarnate. He, kinda has a point, Enoch interrupted. Of course you'd take his side, Sakura grumbled. All I mean is that, while my god in life was in the top 4 strongest beings, he wasn't the top one. The others top aren't even gods. The top 10 feet list, that does not count the top 4, now 3, also feel like they aren't made of as many gods as people seem to think, but again, they'd think all of them would be. Gods are strong, but they aren't the be-all end-all of creation as most seem to think. Wait, what? Naruto asked, confused. A top 10 ignoring the top 4. How does that even work? Enoch shrugged. Supposedly the top 4 are so stronger than the next one they decided not to count them. Naruto blinked. Then blinked again. And what was Kaguya? Enoch took a deep breath. Kaguya was strong, but she is not even in the top 10. And my past incarnation was part of these top 4. Yes. I call bullshit. We wouldn't have had near as close a problem with Kaguya if it was so. Well, your past self was old. And trained and experienced. I'm actually surprised you're already strong enough. My face changed. How old? Thousands of years old. Trust me, the power you have now. Barely scratching your potential. Okay. Let's assume I am the reincarnation of your god and you can somehow prove it. What now? Well, Enoch started, rubbing the back of his head in a very Naruto way before noticing it and stopping with a neutral face. I was hoping you'd come visit our, land, and maybe if you agreed assume again the mantle of, well, our equivalent of your cages. What? No, I swore that I would become Hokage and I never go back on my word. How? I was hoping shadow clones. Enoch flinched a bit at Naruto's denial. I'm not saying to go back on your word. I'd never dream, or have nightmares, about it. I'm not saying you have to take it right now, not even sure if you can. You need a few decades to be ready. More than long enough to train the next Hokage. But just visit and meet the others. They've been without you in their lives for so long. I mean, for us you are the reincarnation of our father. Even if not all were created directly by your past life. Naruto sighed. Deeply. I won't have to give up on being Hokage? If I am right, and I have no doubts, you can tire yourself of being Hokage. And it is a tiring job, Tsunade agreed from the sidelines. As far as I'm concerned, if you wish you can be both at once when you recover enough. I just want the others to know you are born and well for now. Naruto sighed, and looked at Tsunade. The young-looking old lady shrugged. How much will we be away? He asked. 1 week at least, but we can stay as long as you like, Enoch answered with a big smile. I'll classify this as an escort mission of a foreign diplomat, I think, said Tsunade, drinking another gulp. Are you guys serious? Sakura asked, stupefied. Kurama feels no malice from him, Naruto shrugged. His intentions aren't bad. Sakura looked at Kakashi's eyes, and both sighed. I had to be Naruto. So, I guess you can fly while in this, six-path sage mode? Enoch asked, trying to figure out which of the rumors are true already. Yeah, only did it once though. Never crossed my mind to use it much. Can I still do it? He pondered. No reason for you to have lost the skill. I mean, it is something of yours, not just the arm healing seal you lost, Enoch nodded. Well, do you mind if we fly then? we will have to cross an ocean, and I don't think you'll be comfortable much on my back. And we can train it a bit on the way." "Wait. How do you know about that?" I asked around. Enoch shrugged. "A young man was telling me about how it was a shame you lost the youthful arm seal that saved his sensei's life." Naruto couldn't help but let out a laugh, before trying to enter Six Paths Sage mode. Classic Lee. He closed his eyes and concentrated, and when he opened them they were golden. Golden energy was also covering his body, and his whiskers were now dark black lines. Black lines and symbols also covered his energy clothes. Enoch nodded, before releasing his wings. 12 wings of pure white feathers apparently made of light itself extended from between his shoulder blades. "By the way, what is your religion?" Enoch asked while they rose, not bothering to flap his wings. "I know it isn't from the one your predecessor rules over, since you didn't recognize my name. It seems like a mix of Shinto and Buddhism?" "It is called Ninshu," Naruto said. "I'm not the most religious of people, though." "Understandable." They flew for a couple hours, passing through a passage in the dimensional void, but as Naruto wasn't used to flying yet they eventually had to stop to rest. At Japan. In Kuo. To Naruto this meant nothing. To Enoch this meant danger, and if he did not know he'd ask what his father was sending him there for. Then Naruto tensed, and started running towards a park nearby. Surprised, Enoch followed him. The scene he saw was bizarre. A devil, apparently a newly converted one, was trying to save a nun from a fallen angel. Luckily he was able to catch Naruto and cover his mouth before he did something stupid. "We can't let them see us," Enough whispered with urgency on his ear. "She is kidnapping that girl," Naruto whispered back. "I can sense malice from the one with black wings, and the blonde one is scared and sad. I got to help her." And then, something Enoch never thought would happen. The reincarnation of his father hit him to make him let go. He was so surprised, he lost sight of him. If he had asked anyone in Konoha, he would know that was a terrible idea. Rainier didn't care for anything anymore. She had fallen. She didn't even remember why. That meant that the thing that gave her the most happiness in life was taken, and no other fallen had ever gone back. She doubted she'd be the first either. So, like all other fallen, she indulged in vices, an attempt of filling the emptiness. And right now, she was preparing a ritual to kill a pure soul and steal her sacred gear to become stronger. To try and get Azazel's love. In an attempt to fill his love that she lost. She looked to the other three, the three she had no idea why they were helping her. Donasek liked to fight. So he was probably there hoping for trouble. But Kalawarner and Middled. She did not care for the stray exorcists. They were more hired help. Specially freed Selzen. Being lost in though would be her excuse for her surprise. But if she was honest with herself, somehow the blonde boy wearing orange was unnoticeable until he dropped behind Selzen and knocked him to the wall repeatedly until he passed out. His features were Japanese, but as mentioned his hair was a clearly natural blonde and his eyes were blue like a clear sky. Before anyone else could make sense of what was going on, though, the boy exploded and became an army. The next time Rainier could make sense of things, she was pinned to the ground by one of the blondes, as well as everyone else but the girl chained into the cross-shaped machine. Then she saw out of the corner of her eye a sphere of pure energy cut the chains as if they were nothing. "What? Who are you?" the nun asked, confused at what just happened. "My name is Uzumaki Naruto." The boy finally said something. "I noticed you were in trouble so I came to save you." "Why?" she asked in confusion. Rainier agreed with her. Did he just come and help someone because he felt like it? The boy, Naruto, thought about it for a second. Why not? Tears of frustration entered Rainier's eyes, as she just couldn't budge the copy of Naruto holding her down. "What, so you really want us to believe you just helped, out of the good in your heart?" "Pretty much," the boy shrugged. "I once made a promise never to carry any regrets on why I do something. I'll go against my superiors if it is what I think is right, and I definitely won't turn my back on someone who I believe I can help." Pretty words. How do they measure to reality? Naruto shrugged. "I'm not perfect, but I do my best and that's all I can ask myself for." Was this guy even real? He was answering it all so matter-of-factly, as if it was obvious. He felt human, but his attitude was like those goody two-shoes that still had her father's love. Then, to the surprise of everyone, especially the blonde, Donasek created a light spear and hit the copy holding him with it, and it burst in smoke. Her fellow Fallen took advantage of it and went straight for the one who was talking. Okay. Never mind the goody two-shoes comment. The blonde gave him a punch to the gut strong enough to make him vomit and then made him hit his head on the ground to pass out right on top of it. Rainere's mouth opened, but there was no sound coming out. After all, what could surprise her more? Her answer was Megatron entering their stronghold in full regalia, a silver mask covering his face and his robes flowing around his body. Uzumaki Naruto. His voice echoed, and Rainier whimpered. Okay, Megatron, the Megatron, was there and seemed furious. At the guy she just called a goody two-shoes right before he defeated Donasek with 2 merciless strikes. You punched me in the gut. You were in my way, the human replied. Matter-of-factly. Could he not feel the power filling the air at every word the voice of God spoke? Wait, he punched Megatron in the gut? It was a battle between a devil and a fallen angel. Yeah, well, there was a girl between them that needed help, the blonde said, pointing to Asia. Wait, oh crap, Megatron was right there when she took the nun from Issei. Both the devil faction and the fallen angel faction are our enemies. If they find out how important you are, you will be in grave danger. Well, you didn't tell me that. Rainier then saw something she never expected. Megatron, huffing in annoyance. Would it have changed anything? Of course. I would have been more stealthy and taken them away from the shadows instead of jumping in the middle of them and being recognized. I'm a ninja, you know? You wear orange, Middle said. And yet I was able to surprise all of you, he shot back, and she younger Fallen had no reply. Excuse me, said a meek voice, and everyone turned to the rescued girl. I am very sorry, Lord Megatron, for causing trouble between you and the one you were trying to protect. Fear not, child. I should have expected his actions. Please don't punish him for trying to save someone who was excommunicated. He did not know, she continued. I doubt it would have made any difference in his actions. He is known as a selfless person nowadays. Yes, Naruto-sama? What does excommunicated mean? It means she did something so terrible the church judged her unworthy of going to heaven, replied Rainier. I used the power given to me by the Lord to heal someone, but then we found out that person was a devil, and as punishment I was cast out by the church. Naruto looked at her and blinked. Once. Twice. Then a slow one. He then turned to Megatron. Before you want to punch me in the face. Too late, the now identified Naruto replied, cracking his knuckles. Seriously. Who was that guy? I have nothing to do with this, it is not my department. I was looking around for you, remember? Okay, the blonde sighed. But warn whoever is responsible that I do not like this. Neither do I. One of the teachings attributed to Christianity is to do good without paying mind to whom. Whoever punished her did so not for going against this, but for embracing it.
This will not do. Naruto nodded, serious. And that's when a bunch of people entered the room.
Issei-san, Asia said, and only now Naruto noticed an accent, and that she wasn't speaking his language earlier. Ah, so he could understand other languages. Neat. Asia, are you alright? A brown-haired boy around their age yelled, worry clear in his voice. We came to save you. Issei-san came for me. Naruto smiled at her, giving her a small pat on her back as he moved away from her and towards the 3 conscious prisoners. Now, what to do with you 3, he mused, looking in their eyes. Oh, and Sleeping Beauty right there, he pointed to Donasek over his shoulder. Rainier looked around, and the 4 Fallen were the only ones remaining. Even Fried had escaped, despite being the first one knocked out. The others were clearly just following orders, Naruto explained. Save for the creepy guy, he actually escaped while I was distracted. Something you 4 won't do. Why? Was all she could ask. I'm new at this whole detecting malice business, okay. Naruto huffed, as if offended. So I didn't notice he was awake until it was too late. Now, I want you 3 to swear to me you and the other guy will not go after that girl again. What? Calawarner said. You will let us go, just like that? Sure. Naruto shrugged. I mean, I'll stop you guys again if you ever try to do something evil near me again. But as long as you learned your lesson and don't try to repeat this just because you think my back is turned. The 3 felt it then. Killing intent so intense they felt like they had already died many times on his attention alone. What is going on here? Said yet another voice, clearly irritated. The voice belonged to a redhead, her hair a bit deeper red than Naruto's mom. Following her was a girl with black hair in a ponytail. Now that he was looking at that direction, Naruto noticed the guy who the Rikyu'd girl called Issei, and that called her Asia, had been followed by a blonde dude wielding a sword and a petite white-haired girl that looked at him like she saw a ghost. Something easy to notice when the swordman and the two that just arrived were looking at Megatron instead. This, the redhead started, before swallowing her nervousness and trying again. This town was agreed by all three factions to be a joint territory between the Gremory and Seatree clans. Explain your presence. Others would think her trembling legs would lower the effect of her words, but Naruto was impressed she was well enough to keep standing with that nervousness. Metatron did not comment about that. I am aware. I was guiding an important charge, when we had to take a quick stop in your town. That was when my charge witnessed someone being attacked by my fallen brethren. He impulsively escaped my guard and came to rescue her. And I'd do it as many times as needed. Naruto crossed his arms, looking away from Metatron's stare. I am aware. Reincarnation clearly didn't help with your stubbornness. That drew everyone's attention. So that guy was the reincarnation of someone important for the forces of heaven. Bucko, he saved Asia. But he is also letting Yuma go. I am so confused if I should insult him or not. Issei finally said. My real name is Rainier, she replied on instinct, forgetting for a second she was being held by someone who defeated their most experienced fighter with 2 hits. What's the problem with letting her go? I mean, sure she wanted to do something bad, but I stopped her and I think I already punished them enough to put the fear of ever facing me again on them. But, she killed me. Issei whined. Naruto just stared at him. I got better, thanks to Bucko. High-level devils can resurrect the recently deceased as their servants. Well, I can understand you dislike her, but if you got better you don't need to hold that much of a grudge anymore. Don't hold everyone to your forgiveness standards. I reject his forgiveness anyway, Rainier said, anger pouring through her words. He doesn't deserve an apology from me. Okay, what did he do? Naruto asked, confused by all the vitriol. He was born, she replied. So are you, Naruto pointed out. Rainier rolled her eyes. I was born an angel. I was created to be the example of all that is good in the world, and to serve both Father and the humans. Yet one slip and I was cast away by him forever. Yet he, a pervert, despicable, is blessed with his love. With a sacred gear, a special gift from Father. He is blessed by my Father while I, who don't even remember what I did wrong, so small it must have been, am cast away from his love forever. Naruto's eyes widened. There was anger in his eyes, but it was not directed at her. What? He turned to Metatron of all people, and to her surprise said one word filled with command to the voice of God. Explain. Metatron shook his head. She is wrong. That is not what being a fallen angel means. The fuck do you mean? She could hear a voice ask in clear hurt and anger, and it surprised her to notice it was her own. I felt it. I felt him leaving me behind. Being a fallen angel is a punishment, but it was never meant to be eternal. From the first time an angel was cast away, Father explained how they could be brought back. I can only assume the older ones never told the younger generations, since they rejected his offer due to pride. Maybe, they even forgot themselves. All he asked for was for you to repent. A sincere apology, motivated not from desire to be forgiven but from true regret of your actions. Are you saying that the things we do to fill the void are just standing in our way from going back? That all we had to do was see that we did something bad and apologize? Yes. Rainier laughed. And cried. Her laughter was hysterical and filled with self-anger. The other 2 fallen angels were crying as well, but they were not as vocal. Rainier was their leader despite everything, and thus the responsibility, the guilt, the punishment for everything was mostly on her. Even Issei said that he couldn't even hate her anymore in those conditions. But the one that asked the next question, something that made everyone pause, was not one of the fallen or Naruto, but the black-haired devil girl. You say all fallen need to do is be repentant of their actions, but what about the ones born fallen? What about those that did nothing wrong but be born? Metatron looked at her. For the same reason humans need to be baptized. Different circumstances, same reasoning. The devil opened her mouth in surprise. Are you saying that if someone born fallen is baptized, they'd become a normal angel? Yes. In theory. No one ever tried. Unfortunately, I do not know if this path is still available for the ones that have been turned into devils. He black-haired devil scrunched her face, but said nothing more. Naruto couldn't stand that scene anymore. The clones released the three fallen, and he approached their leader. Hey, it's not so bad, you know. Now you know what you did wrong, so now you can work on fixing it. Fixing it, he says, Rainier snorted, before flinching. I don't even remember what I did wrong anymore. Does it matter? Doesn't it just matter if you regret it? It's not that simple. No, it is not, Naruto agreed. But it is not that much complicated like you think either. You are just overthinking it. He sighed. How to explain what he meant? I have a friend, but we did not start as friends. In fact, when we first met he was an insane psycho, who would kill people for minor annoyances. But that's because he thought it was the only way he could live, killing people to reassure his existence, just like you guys do evil things to feel better. It was when I defeated him, that I showed him that being powerful and killing to prove it wasn't everything, that he woke up to reality. He ended up becoming one of the most respected people in our lands, and the younger and most respected leader of his country. You guys just went through the same thing. You just had proven to you that the evil things you were doing were not the best way to live. Now you need to do like Gaara did. Turn around and do your best to live a good life. Do you really think it will work? Middle asked. I'm sure. If you do your best to be good, what more can he ask of you? Megatron just looked. It seemed that Naruto had forgotten he was the father they were talking about now, but it's not like that is a bad thing. But all good things must end, and he was sure they did good there. Naruto-sama, we must be going. Yeah, sure. Asia, let's get your luggage. Hope you don't get airsick. Megatron's head jerked. The only way the people there could see he was surprised under his helmet. But, she can't come. And why not? Naruto asked, crossing his arms. From what I got, she was in danger because she was punished by your people for helping someone with no bad intentions. I refuse to go if I can't get her there to get reparations. But you can just do it for her. Oh no, I'm not taking responsibility for this. Then you guys will distract me and I'll end up forgetting. What? What do you think we are? Somewhere with paperwork. That's how those bastards work, making you forget everything but them. You know, that does explain a lot. Doesn't it? Naruto nodded. Which is why either we take her with me, or I stay here with her until you bring the person responsible. What? No, there is no need. Asia started, but Megatron interrupted, as if not even noticing her. Very well. I agree that this situation is disgraceful. It will take some time for me to convince him to come, though. I made no one aware of you. I was hoping it would be a welcome surprise. But without you there it'll be harder. Naruto nodded. There is no need for you to do that for me, Asia tried again. Naruto promptly flicked her on the forehead, getting a pained, ouch, from the girl. There was also no need for you to heal anyone just because you can. But you did for them. Let me do this for you too. But, you don't even know me. Naruto just shrugged. And am I supposed to only help those I know? While they had that talk, Megatron was looking around the church, something that confused everyone. He came back nodding to himself, and gave Naruto a wallet. You should be able to live here comfortably for some time. But just in case, this should help. Are you sure? Naruto asked, a bit afraid. I mean, I'm not of whatever religion this temple is for. Wouldn't they be angry if I stayed here? Megatron chuckled. Do not worry. I may not look like it, but I am a high-ranking member of my religion. Also, this religion's temples are called churches. Everyone else was confused. So, the guy didn't know what a church was. But was somehow important to the church? But was also angry at them? Also, churches are shelters for those in need, no matter who as long as their intentions are pure. Which means no one has the right to complain. Naruto nodded. He then looked around. Well, if we'll stay here for a bit, I better clean up the place. He then crossed his fingers, and the area he was in was covered in smoke. The smoke disappeared in thin air, showing over a dozen copies of the blonde. Okay, first step is checking everything. Look for materials, tools and the works. We'll only start the work after checking what we have and buying what we may need. Think of this as a D rank, guys. The copies jumped away at high speeds, so fast even the blonde devil, used to moving at high speeds, just saw blurs. Megatron opened his wings, drawing everyone's attention. His wings opened wide, and an aura of holiness covered him. It was clear his next words were going to be important. Ninjas are awesome. That we are, Naruto nodded sagely in agreement. Everyone else blinked in confusion. Save for Rias, whose eyes were filled with stars when she understood what they just said. Rias Gremory. As you can see, someone very important for the Heaven faction has chosen to reside in your territory for now. She nodded, while she wasn't happy about the fact, mostly. An actual ninja. He seemed to only have the best intentions. You are warned. While I understand his motives, I still fear for his safety. In other words, if anything bad happens to him due to your faction's actions, I am having you directly responsible. That means that if your or the Cetri's siblings do anything to harm him, be they warned that it will be not only on their heads, but on yours too. And I am aware they favor your heads over their own. Rias frowned, clearly offended. Are you threatening me into protecting your guest? I made no threats, Gremory. I thought I said the words, be they warned, properly. That means it is no idle threat but an assured warning. He then flared his holy power. A power that clearly dwarfed the power of all supernatural beings present. Until Megatron was hit on the head by the very being he was protecting. Stop being such a mother hen, Naruto complained, rolling his eyes. Aren't you a trained diplomat? Act like it. And thus the present were witnesses of the rare sight of Megatron huffing in indignation but doing nothing. Who was that guy? Anyways, do not bother trying to recruit him into becoming your servant, devil. I am not even afraid of you trying. Oh? So certain of his purity not being taintable? Rias teased. She couldn't deny that the guy was interesting, but she wouldn't think he could be converted. But the dismissal from the angel worked less like a warning and more like a challenge. Oh no, far from it. He'd be tempted for enough bowls of ramen. I'd like to complain, but I really would, Naruto agreed. No, the reason I say that is because I know how your evil pieces system works. How the pieces are limited in power, even if they are mutations. In other words, I am not afraid of him being converted into a devil for one simple reason. He approached the Gremory, her fearful face being reflected in his helmet. You do not have enough badges to tame him. That said, Megatron shone extra light, like a slow flashbang, and disappeared in the middle of the light. Did that angel just make a Pokemon reference? Issei asked, fearful. The white-haired petite girl that arrived with him just looks at him, as if asking, this is what you took from the conversation? The blonde boy had a comment of his own. You and Megatron both are not what I expected of members of the church. Well, I'm not, as much as Megatron is trying to recruit me, Naruto said awkwardly. My religion is Ninshu, it has a small mix of Shinto, Buddhism and smaller influences from others. Naruto woke up in a nice bed. Not exactly a great bed, but not terrible either. It was the old bed reserved for the priest, that the other four insisted in him taking. He resisted the urge to groan. He was able to keep the conversation at just Enoch arriving at his village and telling their leader that he was the reincarnation of someone important to heaven and them agreeing on him visiting. He didn't go in details, making them think Enoch didn't go in details. That was enough for the none that did nothing wrong and the three angels that wished to repent. Maybe four depending on the fourth fallen's mood and if he listened to them, to treat him as their superior though. Anyway, better get up. Thanks to Enoch, he had to be under the devil leader's eyes while in town, and that meant going to their school. This is going to be so boring. He made some clones to make breakfast for everyone and was on his way to the outside of the church, do some training early in the morning, when, lo and behold, the fourth fallen was there. The others told me what you and Lord Megatron in person told them, he said, not looking at Naruto. I'd like to thank you. They are good girls deep down, even if Rainier was a bit twisted in her despair. I know, I saw it, Naruto replied, starting some stretches. But, you don't sound like you are grateful about the news yourself. The fallen nodded. My name is Donasek. I was born in the rank of the soldiers of heaven during the war. I fought in the war. The war ended, but I enjoyed fighting too much. I still do. I fell because my lust for battle is too big. I can control it, of course, but if the opportunity arrives I'll definitely do it. And I have no desire to repent for that. Naruto nodded. You reminded me of someone I met when I was young. You are still young. You are what, 16? 17 and a war old. The war ended on my last birthday. Soldier or survivor? Soldier. I joined the fight in the middle, but stayed there until the last blow. Oh. My bad then. Naruto waved him away. That's the thing about war. Those that lived one can split their lives in before and after. As much as he was still the same idiot, nothing would change those that he failed to save waiting in his memory. Anyways, Zabuza. I was training to be a shinobi at the time, not sure if you know the word. Shinobi and ninja are culturally known through the world, Donasek said. I assume he was a good one? He was known for his ruthlessness and like for killing, and he was definitively bloodthirsty and cruel. The thing is, he was fighting to get money to finance a coup on a tyrant. He had an apprentice that he saw as his own son. He was considered one of the evilest people around, and he definitely acted and probably was the part, but he was using that to help others in his own way. I know it is hard to believe right now, but maybe you can do the same. Your battle list is a part of you now, but maybe you can focus it to do good. Maybe, not expecting any more of an answer, Naruto left. Or made to, before Donasek's voice sounded once more. Megatron can't lie. Naruto stopped. I remember this from even before father died. He is his voice, and thus he is supposed to be truthful. That means he cannot say the truth, he can be cryptic as anything, but he can't lie. It is literally impossible for him to tell a lie, even if he believes it to be truth. Naruto said nothing. The others don't remember, being so young. Maybe they don't even know. But I saw it. I saw his state during the war, how weakened he was, yet he was still a stubborn bastard and fought alongside us. I saw his last moments myself. I don't need him to tell us who you are. Who you are the reincarnation of. I just needed to talk with you for myself. Naruto stayed still. I know it is hard to believe. You probably still don't and think Megatron is wrong, that I am projecting on you. But I believe in you, even if you don't believe in yourself. Thank you. And with that Donasek left, leaving behind a Naruto with closed eyes. After talking to those four fallen, he really wished he was the one they were waiting for, if only so he could help them properly. And then a clone exploded while doing research, and Naruto found out about Pastafarianism. Naruto smiled. Megatron, having no idea why, wept. Donasek, having known his father yet having no direct work under him, had a sudden urge to buy popcorn. The ex but not really nun and the three fallen girls were wondering why they were having ramen for breakfast, so they were distracted. What are you doing here? Everyone looking at the scene was confused, save for the two making it. For everyone's surprise, Hyodo Issei was angry at an attractive girl. Rainair visibly flinched. Oh right, she had been a bitch to him and to Asia. I'm going to study here? And yes, she was clearly a new transfer student, wearing the school uniform, yet no one in the school but those in the known would recognize her. And me too, said Middle to the side. We are trying to apply to work here, said Calawarner, wearing a business suit with a skirt while Donasek wore clearly exercise clothes and a whistle. Issei-san, I know that Rainair-san did some bad things, to both of us, but she is trying to turn a new leaf. Please at least give her a chance. Issei took a deep breath, but eventually calmed down. All right Asia, I'll give her another chance, for you. But then, turning to the black-haired girl, his look was clearly not of someone who forgave her. Do not make me regret this. Rainair just nodded. The group kept going inside the school, and only then Issei noticed the blonde guy. It was Naruto, right? That had helped him save Asia, by doing all the work before he arrived there. The pasta that lives in me salutes the pasta that lives in you. Amen. Issei looked in confusion at the blonde's retreating back. He was far from the only one. Naruto never met Sona Shitori, but knew about her. And he already fell in love with one thing about her even before they met. What do you mean, someone filled the pool with ramen noodles in the name of the flying spaghetti monster? She apparently had a beautiful screaming and angry disbelief voice. Enoch messed with his cell phone, still waiting for a return message. Sure. Others would ask him why not go directly to Michael with the news of the return of their god. Those that asked these questions did not learn from ninjas that every set of rules has exploitable loopholes. He was sure that some of their members had found those and betrayed heaven without turning traitors. Some of the church's actions he was aware of would never be approved through normal channels. And, if someone that was a traitor got wind of the revival of a weakened god, as powerful as Naruto could be. No, it was best to keep it quiet until Michael was able to meet Naruto personally. If only there was a way to get Michael to meet him, if only he had remembered that the others had no idea why he was so into ninjas and not mentioned that Naruto was one in his message. Now Michael was probably thinking he just wanted him to meet his ninja trainer or something. He sighed. Too late to turn back without attracting undue attention. Your pizzas are ready, a waiter told him. He smiled back. Thank you. True, pizzas were not the healthiest of foods to be eating all the time, but the others were so focused with Naruto's new Pastafarian project they many times did not eat until it was too late. All shall be touched by his blessed noodly implements, indeed. And thus was why he exited the pizza store with 6 boxes of the circular Italian food. Sure, pizza is not exactly pasta, but he was sure that if the flying spaghetti monster is real he wouldn't mind much. Ignoring the blonde Kuo student who passed through him as if running from someone, Enoch put the boxes on the back of his bicycle and, wait. Uzumaki Naruto, stop right there. Oh father, you son of a. Not showing his annoyance, he turned to the incoming ladies and one gentleman, or as close as a pervert could be. Hello, Shitori-san. How can I help the student council today? Don't, Shitori-san, me. Uzumaki-san, Shitori Sona said with a glint of victory in his eye. This time we caught you red-handed. Did you think running away would save you from your punishment? Now, come with me back to school. You have a detention to take part on. Enoch grimaced. He'd dislike being punished for Naruto's actions at any point, but at least this time he had an excuse. I am sorry, but you have the wrong person, Shitori-san. As I have witnesses of being here and the still hot pizzas to show for it, I've been here for a while. Oh yeah? Then how do you explain this? Asked Genshiro Saji, the newest member of the student council. He was waving around a cell phone that was showing a picture of. I guess I was supposed to see more than a giant finger. Enoch asked. Because if not, rude man, what did I do to you? Saji's eyes widened as he looked back to the phone. No. Regardless if we have evidence, we caught you red-handed, Shitori insisted. You certainly did not catch me doing anything, Enoch replied with a shrug. As I already said, I have an alibi and plenty of witnesses. So, unless you think I can be in 2 places at once. The glint in her eye was gone, and her whole behavior deflated. Enoch could suddenly appreciate why Naruto was doing those things to her. She looked adorable. Like a sad puppy. He had to resist the urge to pet her. As much as he saw her as an adorable young girl, she'd see it as a similar age classmate doing that, and that would be awkward. While it would be entertained for him if something happened to Naruto due to that, Sona was a victim in this. The temptation of still doing it as a prank on Naruto was strong, but he was also strong. Somewhere else, Naruto frowned. I'm sorry, but I need to go before the pizzas turn cold. I'm taking them for the others, and I need to enter through the back else the people there think it is for them too. Not that it'd be bad but we need to eat too. You're still doing it? I thought you would have stopped already, said Saji, surprised. No, sorry. The idea is to spread the noodly love for those in need, and they need to eat every day so. Well, yes, but I thought there wouldn't be enough volunteers or donations, he said, as a way of apologizing. Enoch didn't mention it, but it was an insulting remark. But he would be right. Most of the people working in spreading his noodly love were hanged shadow clones, and most of the donations were actually hanged shadow clones doing part-time work for now. But the idea was working. More and more people were either working there, or giving donations. Soon they'd be able to keep it going with only real people. Now, if someone could convince Naruto to use food other than ramen. Do you mind if we go with you, Uzumaki-san? Asked the president. Don't you guys have problem with going to churches or something? He asked. He knew they didn't save for going right into enemy territory, but asked for appearance's sake. Oh, do not worry about that. As long as you vouch for us if any angel appears, we won't have any problem, she said, looking him in the eye. The glint in her eyes, it did not seem like she was convinced of his innocence. Which made sense if the person that no one else knew looked exactly like him was caught doing whatever he was doing. What was he doing? So, you mentioned before you thought you saw me doing something. What exactly did you see me doing? Well, supposedly, we're in the president's exclusive bathroom adding mint green hair dye to her shampoo, answered Tsubaki, the vice president. Then when we caught you, you yelled, "You'll never catch me, blue flash blueberry," and jumped through the window. I see, with what he knew of her sister, he wondered if she was more angry at the hair dye or the magical girl reference. As they approached the church, they saw the people, a bunch of poor ones, homeless and not. And a few people with more money to spare, but not all of them eating. The food was for free for anyone, but donations were encouraged for those that could pay. Hey, you, sounded a voice none of the present knew, save for Enoch, who heard it a few times while he was in Konoha. It was a blonde woman around their age, a parent, in Enoch's case, wearing an apron. Her blonde hair was in a ponytail, with a strand in front almost covering an eye. "Yamanaka-san?" he asked. He was ignored, which kinda answered him. "What took you so long? Did you walk all the way here while with a bike?" she asked, making the student council members blush. "Put them in the back, please," she said, eyeing the boxes. "Let's hope enough remains, we don't need many of them." She then turned to the student council, more specifically their clear leader. "Thank you for coming with him. You know how Naruto is with doing what he is supposed to." Enoch snorted. Yes, he definitively knew. "Take this, consider it a thank you," the blonde said, giving Sona a brownie. "I made it myself." "Thank you," Sona said, before taking a bite, blueberry cheesecake filling. Really?" Enoch asked, entering the back and meeting the Naruto wearing a chef hat topped with a FSM miniature. "I mean, really?" "Hi Enoch, did you say hello to Christopher Walken?" Enoch stopped, turned around, then turned back. "Naruto, why is there a clone transformed into Christopher Walken on the kitchen?" "I think the better question is, why wouldn't there be?" Enoch stopped, closed his eyes, counted to 5 in his head. "I do not think that is the better question, no. The ways of the Lord have no beginning, no end, and are a tangled mess in the middle. That's even less impressive since I know that isn't the proper Pastafarian quote, or Lord." Naruto shrugged. "The people eating won't care. Well, I care. And that is important in its own way." Enoch rubbed his eyes. "Why does no one say hello to me?" He sighed. "Hello, Christopher Walken." "Hello." He knew it was a Naruto clone, but he seemed so happy he said hello to him. "The student council president caught you playing a prank on her. Now, I know you like playing them." "It wasn't me," Naruto said, but mirth was clear in his voice. Enoch's annoyed look was answered by an equally annoyed one back. "I find your lack of faith in my pranking abilities insulting. I am sorry, Darth Prankster. It won't happen again," he answered in a deadpan voice. "Make sure it does not. But seriously," he continued after rolling his eyes, "you were outright caught. The only reason they don't have it on image is because I ran interference, actually." They were so focused on what was in front of them Saji didn't even notice the clone beside him with the finger on the camera lens. "So you admit it?" "I admit I was there." Enoch just looked at Naruto, confused. "There is always two, a master and an apprentice. Could you at least not be the evil side?" Enoch groaned. "I consider myself in the middle between the sides, actually," Naruto admitted. "Sure, one is shown as good and the other as evil. But if you actually read the extra materials you see that they both did good and bad things. But one actually pleads emotionlessness and the other says we must enjoy our emotions to the fullest no matter what. I just see them as extremes." Enoch blinked. "I actually did take an apprentice in the prankster ways, though," Naruto admitted. "Or rather, I made a bet about becoming it and you just confirmed I won." "Screw you, brat," came a voice from behind them, clearly trying his best to try and be stealthy while entering. The voice looked like Naruto's but rougher. Not rough enough to feel like it should be bolded in writing, but it was an almost. It looked like a Naruto. But the birthmarks in his cheeks, and Enoch knew Naruto's were birthmarks, since he had them too, were thicker, and the eyes were red. "You must be Kurama." He was ignored. Kurama was too occupied glaring at a smiling Christopher Walken. It took some time until, fine. He yelled exasperated, throwing his arms to the air. "Hello Christopher Walken." "Hello. Report," Naruto said without even turning. "What for? The 12-winged bird already told you I lost." "I want to hear in your own words why you lost." The Kurama-possessed clone growled, "But did it? I thought it would be easy. I've been seeing you do those for years, since you were a toddler practically, so how hard could it be? I overestimated my skills, I underestimated my targets, I did not expect them to arrive then and there and had no plan of escape." "You had no plans, but what would be your objective? You judged the task easy and thus went at it half-heartedly, and thus you lost. If you had taken it seriously, you would probably have won, but that was my whole point, you never took pranking seriously. Did not notice how much information gathering, stealth, enemy positioning recognition and trap-making skills were needed until you saw them in your own flesh. Yeah, let's just get this training over with." Naruto said nothing for a while, until yet another bowl of ramen was ready to serve. No. No? Kurama repeated, confused. What do you mean, no? I don't like your attitude. You won't take the training seriously, we'll suck at it, and we will both just waste our time. Will, suck at it? Naruto nodded. You won't take it seriously because you'll see it as just doing your part of the deal. If you'll half-ass it, better not to do it enough. What are you implying? Slackers 151. Since you have done a half-ass job, you will receive half an ass. Enoch's eye twitched. Did Naruto really quote from the Pastafarian book as if someone doing so from the Bible? I'll show you a half-ass job. Teach me your secrets. I'll be so good a prankster I'll be better than you in no time. Prove it. I will. A folder slid on the ground until reaching Kurama's feet. And it was the physical profile, perfect enough for Kurama to henge into easily, and entrance files for Kuo for one Minamino Shuichi. Even used the same kanji as the one named Kurama in Yu Yu Hakusho. In fact, the only visible difference were the red eyes. I went through the trouble of arranging an interview for you for tomorrow. If you'll do it, then you'll have to suffer the consequences yourself to be motivated to avoid them. Kurama nodded, taking the file and turning into the guy in them. Then finally the coin dropped. He turned to Enoch, confusion clear on his face. Did I just willingly agree to be his prankster apprentice? Enoch nodded, and put his hand on Kurama's shoulder. He only said one word, but the feeling of it was undeniable. How? I don't know, Kurama replied, confused himself. I blame Christopher Walken. Hello. Sona Sitri, also known as Shitori Sona, invaded the church. Or rather, she walked angrily inside, followed by her peerage. To invade would mean one of the people inside would acknowledge her. Hello. Hello, she said to the Christopher Walken look-alike. As was being said, to invade would mean the people inside would acknowledge her as a threat. Are you looking for Naruto-sama? Asked Middle-Tamano, or whatever was her real name out of school, not looking up from her manga. While still respectful of him, there was none of the awe for him in her voice from their first day at school. Like if a younger sibling that respected the older sister but was fully aware of how embarrassing her actions were. No, she was not projecting. Yes, I have matters to deal with him. Middle just stood up and went to call him deep inside the church. By the way, the hair color fits you. Sona did not reply, save by taking a deep breath to calm down. She threw away all the haircare products in that bathroom, just in case, and bought brand new ones. Her hair was turned mint green anyway. And to make matters worse, pictures of an anime magical girl that seemed suspiciously like a tanned version of her with the new hair color were spread through school. The footsteps approached confidently, neither fast nor slow. If she didn't know better, she'd think it was really a priest coming. Asia Argento, the nun, opened the door, something that seemed to annoy a bit the man she had come to see. Rainier Amano, the other fallen to enter school as a student, was talking to him about the minutiae of his communitary work, a clipboard in her hand. Seeing him actually working like she did at school, and she was pretty sure Rias did not, almost made her sympathize with him. Almost. Ah, student council president, he said with a happy voice, mirth clear in his eyes. The pasta in me salutes the pasta in you. She raised an eyebrow. His boisterous attitude now was completely different from their conversation the previous day. Uzumaki-san, she started, as neutrally as she could under the circumstances. Do you remember the conversation we had yesterday while you were bringing pizza? Nope, she faltered. You don't remember? Nope. No idea. Between all the work yesterday, I don't remember meeting you after leaving school. Also, nice hair, contrasts with your eyes. Yes. The hair you claimed yesterday you were not responsible for. Because I wasn't, you can claim you did not do it all you want. I know you are responsible and I will find a way to prove it. Behind her, her whole peerage nodded. I won't. Sona blinked in confusion. Won't what? Claim I'm not responsible. So you admit it was you yesterday? Nope, but you just said. Sona-san, you are supposed to be the smart one of us too. Think about what I said. Sona did so. You did not do it, but you are responsible? Close, but not what I said. You did not do it yesterday, but you are responsible. Ding ding ding, we have a winner. Sona's mouth was open. It was one thing for him to lie, or use wordplay. It was another to explain his wordplay. And why do you admit this? Uzumaki shrugged. Because it doesn't matter, really. I got what I was going for. You had more in mind than to humiliate me. He rolled his eyes. I did not humiliate you. I chose the color that I thought would suit you after all. If I was going to humiliate you, I could do much worse. Then the pamphlets make it seem like you are just cosplaying a magical girl. Unless you have something against that, I think everyone else will just think you have some hobbies they didn't know about. He is kinda right, Kaichu, Saji admitted. I mean, you look pretty nice, and all the guys agree. Sona glared at her pawn, but he did not know, and Uzumaki. Trust me, if I really wanted to humiliate you, you'd know. Uzumaki could be really creepy if he wanted to. So this has nothing to do with my sister? You have a sister? He asked back. His surprise was genuine as far as she could tell. She shook her head. Never mind. Then why did you do it? I never claimed I did it, either. Her mouth opened, then closed. He just claimed he was responsible, but you never claimed you did not, either, she countered. He smiled at her. Yeah, I did not, did I? Sona frowned at him. This conversation was going nowhere. I see. I appreciate your honesty, Uzumaki-san. And be warned, there will be consequences for your actions. She turned to leave. She started walking to the exit. She did not arrive. Hey, Sona-san, Naruto finally said. Hey, be respectful. Saji was ignored. Sona looked at him, in his eyes. It felt like the world was losing its light, all of it belonging only to Naruto. As far as she was concerned, the two were alone in a field of darkness, only them existing for a while. You are a good person, Sona-san, he finally said. A bit strict, but I know there is a good person deep inside. Thank you. I don't know what is your problem with your sister, but I apologize. I will think of a prank unrelated to this one of the future. Her eye twitched. I'd rather you did not pull pranks on me at all. And I'd rather you became my apprentice as a prankster, but we both know this won't happen for now. You make it sound like it could happen in the future. The ways of your noodly highness have no beginning, no end, and are a tangled mess in the middle. The only way of knowing the future is the very second it becomes the past. Now, if you don't mind, I think we both have a job to do. Amen. And just like that, the world returned to normal. Understanding the final word as the dismissal it was, she turned to her peerage and they left the church. Goodbye, said the Christopher Walken lookalike. Goodbye. Iria's eyes widened as Naruto entered the Occult Research Club's clubroom. She had been so occupied that she forgot to warn Naruto not to go there today. She still remembered Metatron's threat, and shivered. Right now, Naruto was at the worst place outside the underworld for an important member of heaven as far as she knew. Right in front of the wife and personal aide to the current Lucifer. Oh, but that wasn't enough for him. Come on, smile, he kept saying as the others entered the room. And Graphia kept looking at him like an insect. Oh sure, for anyone else she seemed impassive, but she knew Graphia since she was a baby. She did not appreciate the attention. And she definitely did not appreciate him losing patience and trying to push the sides of her mouth upwards with his fingers. Surprisingly, her mouth was held serious with such force he was sliding back on the floor. Come on. Just a quick smile. A small one. As my job as the head maid of the Gremory clan. All I hear are excuses. You're still human, devil, not a robot. I do not see how it is relevant. Rias wanted to be afraid for him, she really did. But the scene was just too surprisingly entertaining. It was like looking at a train wreck. She briefly wondered how long it would take before she turned him into a block of ice. The only reason she didn't yet was probably she had patience training from dealing with her brother, but she still had to wonder how far she could still go. And she lifted him by the neck and threw him onto one of the sofas around. That was needlessly aggressive, but why? Oh. In the middle of the room, dangerously close to where he was previously standing, a magic circle appeared, and caught fire. If it was someone else there, she would swear it was just a justification though. The flames rose, making a pillar that covered vision, and the silhouette of a man could be seen through the flames. Naruto, at a speed she could barely see, put his hands in a weird position and spat. The very next second, Riser Fennec's face was having an extremely close encounter with a wall, courtesy of a powerful jet of water. Naruto took a heavy blanket out of nowhere and, without bothering to unfold it, started beating Riser while yelling, "Stop, drop and roll! Stop, drop and roll! Stop! Stop!" yelled Riser. "Drop and roll!" yelled Naruto back. Behind them, she noticed a slight raising of the corner of Graphia's lips. By her side, Akeno was laughing quietly, but it was clear to her she was holding back on guffawing. The scene was surreal to Rias. "Uzumaki-san," Graphia finally said, "you are supposed to smother the flames with the blanket, not beat on them." With a nod, he opened the blanket and covered Riser. The older blonde struggled, but Naruto hugged him, holding him still. "Shush, don't worry. You're safe now." "I don't feel safe," came Riser's voice from under the blanket. "I feel the opposite of safe." Rias couldn't hold back her laughter much longer, so she had to end this quickly. "Uzumaki-san, this is Riser Phoenix. He has control over fire, he wasn't burning." "Oh," Naruto said, letting go of Riser sheepishly. "Sorry man, didn't think it was just you showing off." Riser, now free to do so, said nothing but threw the blanket away, looking at it with deep loathing. "I mean it, I know how presentation is important. I used to show off all the time when I was younger and had much more bark than bite." Riser grit his teeth. Everyone seemed to get the implied insult, but Naruto did not seem like he had tried to insult him, and was just stating a fact of his childhood. He looks around, until his eyes finally meet her. "Ah right, she forgot. My lovely Rias. I came to see you." "Wow, rude much?" Naruto says, while Rises' body heats up just enough to evaporate the water on him. A frivolous use of his fire magic, but he seems overly proud of it. Rias resists the urge to sigh, already wanting to punch his smug face. "Now then Rias," he says, overly familiar, "let us go and take a look at the ceremony hall. The date of the ceremony is decided so we need to check it before then." He went to grab her arm. "Let go of me, Riser," Rias says back with all the disgust she can, promptly pushing his hand away. She wanted to destroy it, but knew she would just grow a new one anyway. And, as always, Riser just stands there, smirking at her. How she wished to punch that smug smirk out of his face. "Hey, I don't think she likes you much," Naruto says the obvious. "Oh, don't worry about it," Riser dismisses it. "She is just being a tsundere." Rias blinks in confusion. What? No, she knows what a tsundere is, but when did she ever hint of a dear side related to him? "I don't know, man. I met tsunderes, so I can tell how they act. She is nice to anyone but you as far as I could tell." "Yes. Tell him how it is, Naruto." No, you see, there are two types of tsuneres. The Tsun type and the deer type. The ones you are used to are probably the Tsun types, who are angry to all but the ones they like. Rias is a deer type, who is just to the one she likes. "You are delusional," she says before she can help it. "See?" Rises points to her. "And it seems like you really think so." "No, I swear on my life. You are delusional. Your appearance is something I'd find just as easily in a host's club, and I have not an iota of attraction to your personality, and in fact it repulses me." Riser looks at Naruto and rolls his eyes, that annoying smirk still on his face. "But even if she doesn't," he continues, "we are already engaged anyway." "Wait, really? And she just accepted that despite acting like she hates you?" "I definitely did not." Rias entered the conversation. "In fact, I am doing my best to convince everyone involved in this marriage contract to set me free of it." Naruto turns to Riser. "And you just, are going to take it like that?" "Of course," Riser says with a chuckle. "Why would I fight it?" Naruto nods. "Ah right, taking the lazy pity route." "Excuse me?" Riser says suddenly, clearly offended. Naruto raised an eyebrow. "Well, it is clear that you either are not willing to put work on getting a girl or has no confidence. If you are going for the way to get her that someone else does all the work for you and you just enjoy it." Riser looks furious at Naruto, and snaps his fingers. Once more the room's teleportation circle is turned into the Phoenix 1 without Rias' permission, and 15 women appear in the middle of the room. "You see these women? Save for Revel, who is my sister and doesn't count, they all joined my peerage because they love me. And yet you are only marrying Gremory-san because she is being forced into it. Guess someone lost his groove." Riser stepped back as if he had been slapped. "I did not lose my groove." Rias' eyes widened, looking around in confusion. What was going on? And why was someone that looked so much like Christopher Walken in a corner of the room? The Christopher Walken waves at her, so she awkwardly waved back. Naruto says nothing, just crosses his arms and gives Riser a look. Riser's eye twitches. "All right, Maybe I've been a bit complacent nowadays since my marriage with her is already a done deal and didn't put any effort in romancing her. Rias was trying to resist the urge to snort, but that also meant that Riser would probably try to romance her. She was not looking forward to it. You know, you could also go for someone else. Not saying she isn't good looking, but she isn't all that either. Now her eye was twitching. No can do, Riser shook his head slowly. You see, not only she is a pureblood devil, which are becoming rare, she also got the power of destruction. Can you imagine the power available to someone with both the power of destruction and a Fenix regeneration? So, she is the only pureblood Gremory available with the power of destruction? The power of destruction comes from my mother's clan, the Bales, Rias interrupted. That said, I'm pretty certain I have some cousins that are pureblood and also have it. Naruto nodded, and turned to Riser. So Riser Fenix, what will you do? Will you throw your pride away and prove your lack of game going through the motions of the contract? Or will you do things the worthy way and try to get a wife worthy of you on your own? But what of Ria's feelings for me that she is too shy to admit and masks them with disdain? If she really likes you, for real, she will be able to throw her pride aside and admit it for you before it becomes too late. Trust me, this is the best for the both of you. Riser Fenix looked to the ground, then back at Naruto's eyes, a fire literally consuming his. Grafia-sama, please inform the Gremories that from now on the marriage contract is being considered invalid by both parties. If Rias Gremory ever change her mind, a new contract will have to be made. Then Riser, along with his peerage, left the room through a magical circle. Everyone stood still. Everyone. Really? Naruto of all people asked. No, really? He sighed. That was a waste of my talents. Let's get going, Christopher Walken. May the pasta be with you, everybody. Goodbye. No one moved as Naruto left the room. What just happened? A voice asked. Rias took a few seconds to understand it was her own. Apparently, your acquaintance convinced Riser Fenix that there was no worth on marrying you if the only reason was the contract between your families, Grafia replied, deadpan. That young man has problems. Riser or Naruto, Grafia-san? Akeno asked, a bit of her energy returning. The maid thought for a bit. Both. Now, if you excuse me, I have a marriage contract to nullify. Rias nodded instead of saying anything, and Grafia left. All she could think about was Naruto and the stunt he pulled, replaying the whole conversation in her head. Was this guy for real? Rias had to wonder how much of his performance had been real and how much was an act. But more important, what did he mean when he said she wasn't all that? Naruto stared at the empty table in front of him. He held this power before. He saved lives and recreated whole organs with it. Eyes are organs, right? It was his power, Enoch had said, not the sun marks. The mark only helped him focus it. After all, Sasuke wasn't throwing Izanagi's with the moon mark. So, he should be able to use it again even without the arm that once held the mark. And even if it was the mark's power, it was really linked not to his arm, but to his soul. He should still be able to use it to help. Taking a deep breath, Naruto put his chakra in his newly invented technique. What's going on? Asked Middle, seeing the strange scene. Naruto, the one that gave them hope back, was crying on a confused Reinare's shoulder. A cup of noodles was on the table, uneaten. That last part, more than anything, terrified the smaller Fallen. Calawarner was not so cautious, walking forward. There was only one possible cause of this outburst in her eyes. She only needed to confirm it. Naruto-sama, did you try to use holy powers to make your cup ramen ready without having to wait 3 minutes? Reinair and Middle twitched. What the? Naruto's suffering nod confirmed it. Calawarner turned the cup upside down, letting the cold water and burned noodles escape. Reinair quickly and annoyed pushed Naruto off her. He simply allowed himself to fall to the ground. The hell? Middle asked. Our greatest minds have been looking for a way to properly do it ever since it was invented. Naruto-sama is just the latest one to try and fail. Calawarner gently lifted Naruto again, and took Reinare's position. I am a monster, came Naruto's weak voice. You just made a mistake. And you were not the first one, nor will you be the last. Kala-chan. Reinair looked to Middle. Middle looked to Reinair. Reinair mouthed, what the? Middle shrugged. I get the feeling we just avoided something stupid, Donasek said, looking deeply inside his beer bottle. I agree, Enoch replied. Then he sighed. I wish I could walk around here without the helmet. I mean, it is a cool helmet, but it makes my voice sound all bold and centered. I don't think that's how voices work. I know. That's how it feels, though, as weird as it sounds. Donasek shook his head, then remembered the sensation of Metatron's business voice. A rumble more than a voice, that felt like it was resonating from inside him rather than from the speaker. So, what no? Donasek asked. I mean, what was Michael's answer about meeting him? That he is occupied right now. Donasek's eyes widened. Occupied? With what? Metatron shrugged. Probably trying to see if I am serious with wanting to talk to him. I wasn't the most stable when Naruto-sama got powerful enough to be sensed this side of the dimensional void. Come, my fellow ninjas. Our enemies approach. Metatron, they are just. Use my callsign, Goldbird. With a sigh, Michael continued. Terror who flaps in the night. I don't think these guys dressed like pirates on Halloween are real pirates. And even if they were, everyone knows pirates and ninjas were not really enemies. Also, we are not ninjas. Are you on the gardener's side now, Goldbird? What do you have against gardeners? Asked Gabriel, her face filled with confusion. Metatron turned to them, madness shining through his helmet. I learned in the flesh to never mess with a florist. Really? Donasek asked, eyes wide. I know, but someone filmed it. Enoch replied, embarrassed. I wouldn't be able to tell. The only thing I remember between October 9th and November 10th is that one second I was doing laundry and the next I was next to a jacuzzi filled with instant ramen. Donasek's eyes widened. He got that much more power out of nowhere just like that? Enoch nodded. Yeah, it was like he broke through a limit or something, and I was caught in the backlash. Funny thing is, all of their artificial flavors were mixed masterfully. It still tasted artificial, but it also felt like a chef mixed them or something. His companion nodded. That sounded like someone overcharged with Naruto energy would do, and he barely met this new incarnation for a couple weeks. Wait, don't Pastafarians believe pirates are priests or something? Or something, not much a Pastafarian myself. Why is it this what you take from that story? Donasek shrugged. Anyways, that was the last time we met face to face, and I don't trust everyone enough to send the info in a message. Donasek raised an eyebrow. You're saying you may have traitors. Isn't that impossible? It is impossible for me to lie, but I can bend the truth, Enoch replied. So I'd rather not leave Naruto alone, nor let his real status be known, unless really needed. Donasek nodded. While it was hard for him to believe an angel would try to erase the reincarnation of their father, the fact was many who fell were not just for small mistakes like the girls. And if they could avoid falling to better get their wishes, they would. Uzumaki-san, Minamino-san, I thank you for your presence, Sona said neutrally. Kurama rolled his eyes, while Naruto looked at her confused. You bribed Middle-chan and Kaneko-chan with ice cream if they brought us. While I can understand Kurama, why not just call me? I'm only here because I chose to be. Their kicked puppy eyes did nothing to me. Nothing. Sona ignored his outburst, only putting a piece of paper in front of them. Naruto's eyes widened, and his mouth became a nostalgic smile. Oh, I remember this. Man, hard to believe it has been almost 10 years since I made this. Wait. He looked at Sona in surprise. How do you have this? Why is your eye twitching? We found this in the teacher's lounge, Sona replied. Where it was used. We also found strands of red hair stuck to the fan that were of an auburn color most associated with Minamino-san. Naruto blinked. Sona blinked back. The next second, Naruto was holding the ear of a cursing Kurama. Are you telling me my apprentice here, instead of doing what he was supposed to, stole a plan I made when I was 7.5 and failed where I succeeded? Sona blinked. OWW, I had a creative block. You made this plan when you were not even 8, Uzumaki-san. I must admit, it is impressive. Sona said. She was against pranks at principal, but couldn't deny it was a well-made planning, especially for that age. Thank you. Unfortunately it seemed I was a bit too early to take apprentices. It is clear that it was Konohamaru that was a great apprentice, and my teaching skills are not as good as I expected. That hurts man, Kurama complained, still trying to free his ear. Right here. I wonder what would happen if you applied this same focus on other school subjects. Nothing much, I think, Naruto shrugged. While there are freaks that can do both like I read about Da Vinci, you can't expect most artists to be good at physics calculations. Do you consider pranking an art, Uzumaki-san? Sona asked, curious. An art, training in various fields both physical and mental, entertainment. Pranking is a field with a wide range of skills demanded, and also a wide range of benefits when properly applied. And, I still believe you have potential in this field. Her eyebrow rose. Really, Uzumaki-san? You are trying to coerce me into joining you under these circumstances? I admit it is not ideal. Kurama is my apprentice more due to his pride than actual love for the art. But you, I can see the desire for it under your strictness. A wish to sow chaos where you usually place order. A work in contrasts that may make you shine beautifully. Sona blushed. True, none of his words were romantic in nature, but the way he said it felt like velvet wrapping around her heart. Are you not affiliated with the church, Uzumaki-san? What would they say if they heard you talking like this? Oh? Feeling tempted, Shitori-san. I have no idea what you are talking about, she replied, adjusting her glasses. Get a room, you too, Kurama said. He was ignored by Sona. We are in a room, Kurama, Naruto said, pointing to the closed door guarded by Tsubaki. He then turned to Sona, his gaze disappointed but understanding. The offer is still open, Shitori-san. With that said, Naruto left the room, pulling Kurama by his ear. Sona threw herself backwards, allowing herself to relax on her chair. Kaichu, Uzumaki-san left with Minamino-san, the plans and no punishment. She promptly facepalmed. Then looked forwards, eyes glinting under her glasses. You win this match, Uzumai-san. But I will not give up so easily. Hello. Naruto-kun, Minamino-san, said Rias, approaching the duo. Gremory, Kurama said as an answer. He ignored the glares, his lack of honorific being seen as a slight by most. It wasn't like he cared even to address the teachers properly, and they should count themselves lucky he even addressed people by name. Hey Naruto-kun, I brought too much lunch today, would you like to share it with me? Oh, I already ate. But why don't you share it with Sona-chan? She seemed like she haven't been eating right when I left. I see, Sona-chan. Rias laughed, but even Kurama shivered a bit at that laugh. Is she the kind of girl you like? Naruto missed the obvious question. Of course. I like to have friends of all kinds. Wow, she is really laying it thick with him. And he won't even notice. Rainier complained to Issei and Asia. Why are you talking to me? Issei asked, confused. He would be irritated, but he just couldn't now that she really seemed to be trying. Call him a sucker for a cute face. It is the truth after all. You're the only guy the first knew before coming here besides him. And as much as I enjoy it, the others' enjoyment of being treated like the trash they are gets old. Trying really loosely, had most of the males wrapped around her fingers, but trying. Middle was the same, but being spoiled by the older students instead of asked to step on them by the males. If he didn't know they really are sisters, that would prove it. She just can't take the hint he is not interested. Actually, the history teacher, also known as Miss Calawarner, joined their conversation. He knows she is only trying to heal her wounded ego. He is more observant than most give him credit for. Not that it is a height bar, Rainier snarked. So, this is the one that broke the arranged marriage between the Phoenix and Gremory with nothing more than words? The woman asked, observing a picture taken of Uzumaki Naruto. Yes mistress, replied her male companion, subservience clear in his voice. Unfortunately I do not believe he would agree to join us, don't you think? I agree, mistress. He did not strike me as someone who would join us during our meeting. A shame. I'd still like to meet him, though. I'd like to properly thank him for the opportunity. Make sure he comes to our meeting. As you wish, my mistress. And stop the jealous stares at the picture, Riser. Do not worry, your position is not at risk. As you wish, my mistress. I am sorry. Yup, you were right. Sorry, but I'm not into this. Lesrith Bael, Riser Phoenix, new betrothed, pouted. It would have been cute and make him rethink his words, but that would be the opposite of what she wanted, since she and Riser were wearing the closest to socially acceptable fetish gear in order to try and tempt him into becoming her second submissive. I'm really sorry. I just already have enough of obeying women outside the bedroom, he explained. Lesrith sighed, but nodded in acceptance. I understand. Riser was the opposite, all the other women in his life but his mom just obeying him. Even Eubeluna, as much as she seems otherwise. I think that's what attracted him to my cousin. Naruto nodded in understanding. Well, I'm glad the both of you were able to find each other and are both happy. Yes. I admit he seemed a little too arrogant at first, but he is a much better person now that I was able to remove that figurative stick from his rear. Naruto nodded, and put a real one in its place. Too much info. If she was honest with herself, she was enjoying this a bit too much. But Sona couldn't help it. Naruto was the only heterosexual male in the whole school to not worship the ground Rias walked on. Even her pawn who claimed to like her instead did it a little, and that was making Rias go crazy. In fact, Rias, with all your complaining when he is out of earshot while hitting on him mercilessly when you see him, I think Riser may have had a point about you being a bit of a tsundere. That's not funny, Sona, Rias almost yelled, for you. Rias pouted. But seriously, Rias, what would you do if he ever accepted your hints and went for it? It's not like you'd really go for. Rias put a picture in front of Sona. Oh my, you could grind cheese on those abs. Wait, how did you get this? Oh, look at the time. Today is PE, isn't it? Can't leave Donasek-sensei waiting. You know how serious he is about his job, and making the boys sweat, like Naruto-kun. Rias, if you want to avoid the conversation and run away with an excuse, you should keep moving, not freeze mid-run to start drooling. Rias quickly cleaned her mouth and did so. Sona sighed. Seriously, no wonder you got along with Hyodo, you can be as bad as him. She then noticed the picture she forgot, and promptly hid it in her bag. Not like I can blame you. Naruto, I'm not letting you make an obstacle course ever again. Donasek said, deadpan. It's not that bad, Naruto, it is my job to keep them healthy. They are only bruised. You used explosives. They were calculated to not even hit them. It's just pyronka, pyron. Pyrotechnics, I know. But keep them healthy includes, not traumatizing them. Naruto pouted. Michael frowned once more. The godly system had been behaving oddly for a couple weeks already, but, not better or worse, just wrong. He was pretty sure there was not supposed to exist a sacred gear called Pearl Jam that could heal people when used on Italian cuisine. Or ramen. And why did Gabriel start talking about crazy diamonds when he mentioned it? Naruto stared in her eyes. I'm not sorry. The girl's eyes twitched. You asked for a pizza with pineapple. I never had it before. I didn't even know it is possible. It is not. It is an abomination against Natu. You're exaggerating. It's not that bad. Midult sighed. I am a food connoisseur, Naruto. While other fallen were enjoying in the pleasures of the flesh or feeding themselves on pure lust for battle, I was infiltrating the best restaurants and drinking the best wines. You are amazed that someone made tomato ramen flavoring. Of course. I never saw an actual tomato-flavored ramen before. Midult sighed again. Why aren't you helping me? Kaneko shrugged. I like Hawaiian. Of course you would, it doesn't matter the abomination, it would be alright with you as long as it is sweet. Kaneko shrugged. It was true. Her dream man meeting a giant marshmallow man, and eating it. She was promptly hit in the head. Her eyes narrowed. Naruto's narrowed back. She had no idea how he knew what she was thinking, but he wouldn't stop her. She would become the goddess of the sweet whirl. She paused. Rethought that properly. Nodded to herself. Too much anime in a day, she concluded. Somewhere else, Ria's eyes narrowed, as if a blasphemy was uttered but she was too far out of earshot to correct them. Akeno served her current visitor some tea, confused. Naruto-kun. Not that I'm complaining. But what are you doing in the occult research club at this time of the day? She was sure that Rias was looking for him in the exact opposite side of the school. Actually, I wanted to ask you guys for a favor. Rias-sama's measurements are 995890, she replied with a smirk. It probably wouldn't be what he wanted, but knowing how much boys like to have these numbers. Okay. I'm not thinking of buying her clothes, though, or transform into her, but not like they knew he could do that. Akeno blinked at that. Well, that was a quick dismissal of something most males would be begging for. Not that she had any idea why the numbers were important herself. She was more proud of how she looked with her measurements than their values. Well, no matter. She sat down in front of him, crossing her legs and throwing her hair over her shoulder, something that seemed to drive the boys crazy, but not Naruto, who didn't seem to notice. Rias was getting frustrated with her inability to approach the boy in front of her, judging from her complaints. Well, Akano now had him right where Rias wanted. Now, how to better tease him. So, she said, one arm under her breasts pushing them upwards while the other hand played with her hair. What exactly is it that you were wishing for? I must warn you that some things would need Buckow's permission, but if it is something I could help you with. Well yeah, I was actually hoping to ask you. Oh? Akano couldn't resist licking her lips. She had seen that picture, and while she wouldn't do anything with the guy, she couldn't help imagining him begging her to serve her. Well, I may be wrong, but you seemed like a magic specialist judging from how you seemed to stay away from the fight in the church, while the others save for your leader seemed to be close quarters. I was kinda hoping for some help learning it. I tried some of the light-based magic the guys with me in the church knew, but it was mostly instinct for them. Oh, it was that. Not what she hoped, but, oh. You must have been observing me very well. Naruto nodded. Don't tell Rias, but, my instincts tell me you are more trouble to me than her. Akano licked her lips again. It may not be what she wished it was, but it was still a very nice compliment in her opinion. Oh? Would you say I am more dangerous? No doubt about it. Rias is more powerful, but your eyes are definitely more predatorial. She giggled. Well, I don't like bragging, but everyone says I am pretty good. But, you'll need some more magical knowledge before I could try giving you more private lessons. He shrugged. Makes sense. She giggled again, wondering how much of his innocence was an act, and how much she'd need to teach him. She shook her head while standing up, moving as sensually as she could, and she considered herself great in that. She moved to a bookcase at a wall to the room, and put her index finger on her mouth as if pensive, looking around it. Ah, these books should do it, she said, gathering about 4 medium-sized books. We don't have any advanced books I'd be allowed to lend you, but these are the best for beginners. As she came back to the table with them, though, the first bell to go back to classes sounded through the school, even there. Oh, too bad. You can take them with you though, as long as you promise to bring them back soon. I was gonna ask if I could use this room to read them during class? Akano frowned. Naruto-kun, while I know you are not a fan of the classes, I can't approve you staying here and skipping them. As she expected, Naruto sighed at that, but then. But if I wasn't skipping class, I could, but you would be. He crossed his hands, and exploded in smoke, and, as the smoke dissipated. Oh right, I remember something like this in the church. 4 more Narutos appeared from the smoke. Then there is no problem if they stay here, right? Right? Hamejima-san? Okay. He gently pushed the stunned devil back to the main building, ignoring the Jiraiya-like smile and droll. Your next worlds are going to be, for the love of Father Gabriel, stop imitating this JoJo thing. For the love of, why? Hey Kurama. The fox in a human body asked, eating a meat stick and actually reading Yu Yu Hakusho while Naruto worked. His favorite, surprisingly, was not his namesake, but Hiei. Do you feel like there is something missing? Kurama looked at the broth he was working on. No, it looks just like the recipe the Ichiraku girl taught you. Not that. Oh, why bother? I'll think about it later. I'm surprised, Rainier pointed out. If something was bugging me like that, I wouldn't be able to concentrate in anything else. Naruto shrugged. No point in worrying about it. After all, everything seemed to be going fine. So he'd rather enjoy it while he could. The chapter is end here now. We will meet with another chapter, so don't forget to subscribe our channel for more content like this.